Now this is the Meridian Explorer. It's a portable digital to analog converter. Now that in itself isn't that interesting, but what is interesting is that this little device has some hi-fi components in there. And it also has some other interesting tricks up its sleeve. So let's take a closer look at the Meridian Explorer. Now Meridian isn't a brand that a lot of people have heard about, but it has been around since the 70s, so it's not a new brand. It has some interesting achievements and they are mainly targeted at the compression rate of audiophiles. Now one of them is called, I have to look it up, the Meridian lossless packing. That one is used for, well, some DVD audios, but it also has something else and that's called MQA. Now MQA is a master authenticated audio format, which is a lossy audio compression method, but it will cost you a fee. Now, especially the MQA has been the subject of a lot of debate. For instance, a professor in Germany said that it's a stealth DRM Trojan. Not the best compliment. And Neil Young, the singer, removed all its content from Tidal when he found out that Tidal uses MQA. Now the reason that Neil Young pulled it off Tidal is also not just the MQA, but what did he say? The main reason being that the audio quality was nothing more than a normal CD, and MQA is nothing more than a format to collect royalties. But there's also some other sounds in the community. For instance, the editor from the Stereophile magazine said, magazine in 2014 said, only rarely have I come away with the feeling that I was present at the birth of a new world. Well, that's saying a lot. And there was also another one from the Absolute Sound that said that MQA will forever change the way we and future generation consider digital audio. Again, a bold statement. But it doesn't really matter to me because I don't care, I just want the audio to sound great, and if it's MQA, hey, that's just fine with me. The Explorer was released in 2013 and it cost about €280 or $300. But as usual, I got this one secondhand and it didn't cost me so much. The guy I bought it from paid close attention to using it with care. He had the original box, the wrappings, the carrying sleeve. Now this sleeve has two pockets, one for the Explorer and one for the USB cable. Well, cable, there isn't much included. The case itself is sort of Spartan and not much going on. On the Explorer there are different lights on there. What lights are turned on depends on the resolution the audio is played at. One is for 44,1 or 48 kHz, 2 is for 88,2 or 96 kHz, and 3 is for 176,4 or 192 kHz. There are two outputs, one line out, which is a line level audio output combined with an optical output. Nice touch. The other output is the headphone output. Sadly, there is no input. It is larger than some of the other external digital to analog converters, but that is because Meridian tried to incorporate some hi-fi components, especially the audio grade caps. They managed to squeeze in a lot of other components in there. So it's time to take a closer look at the components. First up, it's the digital signal processor. Now, according to some information I found online, there is supposed to be an XMOS L1 in there, meaning that the L1 is a single-core processor. The XMOS is a DSP that we've seen in so many other high-end products, like the EVGA NU and the Burson Audio Playmate 2. Both of those are my absolute favorites. Another interesting component is the PCM5102, which is the digital to analog converter, the chip that does the actual converting. When we take a look at the datasheet from Texas Instruments, we find that it's an audio stereo digital to analog converter capable of 32 bits and 384 kHz. Now, as I said before, there are some interesting audio grade caps on there. Now, the golden color of the capacitors tell me that they are the Nichicon Fine Gold series, which are meant for high grade audio equipment. Well, that's very interesting. Now, something I need to address is the Explorer 2, which is the follow-up of the Explorer, the one that I have. Now, hardware-wise, they're nearly identical, but it does have some interesting additions. For instance, the DSP is again from Exmos, but this time it's a better one. And this time it's the Exmos XU216. Meridian uses the additional processing power to do stuff the original Explorer cannot do. When looking at this overview, you can see the differences at the top of the overview aren't that different. The differences are in the bottom of the overview. The Explorer 2 is capable of upsampling, noise shaping and MQA, something the original Explorer couldn't do. Also, the volume can go up a bit further. Now, this DSP may be different, the other components are the same. So, this is what's inside. But what does it sound like? So, as usual, I did some listening sessions, and what did I think about the Meridian Explorer? Well, it was a pure delight to listen to. The soundstage was extremely well defined. The basses were nice and powerful, and it was as if the Meridian Explorer didn't even break a sweat to control the music, it just knew where to place everything. The middles were nice and well defined, the highs were crisp, and a pure delight to listen to. I did a lot of listening, and at the end it was about 4 hours of listening. I also did some gaming and everything, and the games were also very good. I mean, there was nothing wrong with the audio. Now, the results from Rightmark Audio Analyzer paints a similar picture. I mean, the sound quality was really good, especially for a digital to analog converter that's 10 years old. I have seen newer devices, well, that were a lot worse. So let's take a closer look at those results. The frequency response gets an excellent, and when you see the graph, you know why. This, people, is what I want to see. This is what it's all about. It's almost completely a flat line, and the cutoff is way past the 20 kHz. This is nearly perfection. The total harmonic distortion is also good, as are the intermodular distortion plus noise and plus 10 kHz. Now, the total harmonic distortion is the amount of distortion being introduced by the device itself. And getting such a score from such a small device is impressive. Something that I want to underline here as well is the stereo crosstalk. Now, normally in devices this small, there's bound to be a lot of stereo crosstalk. But not in the Explorer. It gets an average. And that in itself is a feat as well. So, should you get the Meridian Explorer? Well, yes, you should. I mean, the device itself is just excellent for when you're on the road. It doesn't take up a lot of space, and the sound production is just excellent. The components are excellent. The listening sessions were excellent. The frequency response from the Rightmark Audio Analyzer was excellent. There's just absolutely nothing wrong with this device, and I want to find something wrong with it. I couldn't find it. So, if you want to look at the Meridian Explorer 2, I haven't reviewed that one. I mean, it's hardware-wise, well, sort of identical, but it's not the same device. Now, from what I have read is that the MQA and the upsampling are more or sort of a gimmick. So, but I can't tell because I haven't reviewed it myself. If you can get your hands on a second-hand Meridian Explorer, go get it. I mean, you cannot go wrong. And that's it for me for this video. Thank you for making it all the way to the end of this video. And I'd like to see you in the next one. See you then. Bye-bye!